and welcome back. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today I'm going on with the Junk Journal 3 Under 30 challenge that's run by Margaret from Seven Plaza and Toni from Crafty by Toni. And as you can see, I have done some tea bags. But what I've done is I've done hidden paper clips out of the tea bags. When I was doing a challenge in July, I had to save some tea bags, and I ended up saving a lot and enjoyed playing with the tea bag more than I knew. I'd not done craft on a tea bag before. So I have quite a lot of tea bags, and I decided that why not turn it into something for this challenge. So that's what I'm going to do today. I've actually made 7 here, but I'm going to show them at the end, and I'm going to do 3 on camera. I will be doing all of the dimensions and all my tips of how to do it. So let's get started and set up to do some crafting. Okay, I've pulled out the most difficult one first. So I've taken note of the time. I think that if I do the hardest one first, then I might be able to speed it up a little bit at the end. So the first thing I have done is I've got a scrap piece of card. You can see that I have my tea bag here. I'm going to do a template of the tea bag. So we're using Twinings. So obviously your size is going to change depending on your tea bag that you use. But I'm just going to snip off the dangle and shake out the tea bag leaves out of the cylinder. So you open it up, shake that into the bin, and then I'm going to close it back up, fold it back in half, and just close it back up just to get the shape of the top. So we can see there that that's the shape of the top of my tea bag. And I have a piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to put a little mark with my pencil or my pen and get the shape of the triangle. And then use that bit to create a template. Now, once you've got your template for the tea bags that you use, you'll be able to keep it and just keep reusing it. You won't have to do this process again. So I'm just using that little piece of scrap to create a template for my tea bag. And you can see that that is pretty much the shape of my tea bag and half the size. That would fold over. So then you can see here I've written tea bag template. So template. Okay. Now for my Twinings tea bags, I have some dimensions. So you have your tea bag wrapper. You could threadle it in, but I actually open it up. So I just pull it open like this, and then it's nice and flat. And I have a piece of cardstock cut for my tea bag insert. Now this piece of cardstock is, for Twinings tea bag, is 3.8 centimeters by 12 centimeters, which is 1.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And you just score it at 6 centimeters. So score it at 2 3/8, and you can see that that then will fold in half and create a solid base for you to be able to do something on. You also will need a piece of scrapbook paper, and I use scrapbook paper because it's a little bit more sturdy, and that is 3.4 centimeters by 11.4 centimeters. That is 1 3/8 by 4.5, and that can just fold in half. Now you can see that I'm using a piece of scrap Christmas paper because I like the look of this hessian that you'll see. Now what we're making today is this lovely gentleman, something like this, and he is just fabulous, isn't he? And you can see that I have stamped in the background, and I've stamped on some cardstock to get high contrast. So I've used white cardstock to get as much black and white contrast in the background as possible. And then I've used a little bit of washi tape, and I've actually done some stenciling with some gesso onto the face of the tea bag. And then I've done a little bit of stamping on some bits of paper. You can see here I've got some bits and created a story. So that's what we'll do first, but I'll show you how to construct the tea bag so that it has the concealed paper clip sticking out the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is stamp on my card. And I'm going to burnish that down really well because I want it to close. And I'm going to get the stamp that I want to use. The stamp I'm using is All in Create Bold Alphas, and it's number 336. And I'm just going to use some VersaFine and stamp. And what I need to do is I just need to stamp on half of it because we want it to be the right way around when we're looking at the tea bag. So I'm going to stamp this side first. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. It'll be obscured by some things. And restamp up. There we go. And you can see that the writing is the right way round on both sides. So that's why I folded it in half. Now I probably should clean this stamp. You can see that now that has lovely high contrast, that when we put it through the stained tea bag, it will get muted down a bit, but you'll still be able to see it. Okay, so we have that, it's dry. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to round the edges just with a small round, and I'll do the same on my piece of scrapbook paper. Just round those edges. And this is where I'm going to use my template now. So I'm going to put my folded piece of card and my template onto it, and you can see that it matches pretty good. It's close enough. It's a tea bag like. And I'm going to cut off the shape of the tea bag. And I'm going to use the template, even though it's a little bit big, I'm going to use the template to cut down the scrapbook paper as well. I now can put that into my paper. So I'm going to glue that in with a little bit of art glitter glue. And try and get it as flat as possible. I just pulled off that little bit that was rolled up. I don't want any extra bulk. Okay, so now we have it sort of sitting relatively flat, and you can see that it's open on the front because I've only glued the back. So potentially you could slide something in here that you wanted to see that's visible. But I'm now going to snip this and put a little bit of glue on here and fold the shape of the tea bag over. Fold those little bits that I snipped. And you can see that we have a little bit of a shape of a tea bag now. Okay, now one other thing I'd like to do now, for some of my tea bags, I have the paper clip hanging out the top so that I can tie something onto. For other ones, I've punched a hole in it. So for the ones that come through the top, this is when we need to put a little bit of a slit just in that fold for the paper clip to be able to poke out. And it only just needs to poke out a little bit. So now what we can do is we're going to put our paper clip over our piece of scrapbook paper, and the bit that you may see is on the inside. This bit we're going to glue. So I'm going to put that onto there, and I'm going to put it so that the little piece is sticking out the top. And I'm using 50mm paper clips. So this one, it will go through here and just poke out a little bit, and you can see that our paper is just a little bit smaller than what our cardstock is. So let's glue that in, and I've got it just sticking up slightly before I glue it. Put a reasonable amount of glue onto it. You've got your paper clip on there. Slide the paper clip into that hole and position it centered, and make sure it pops out just, and close it down. Give it a push, and then we can just open up the other side a little bit and put our glue all over the other side of the scrapbook paper and close it shut. Okay, now while that's gluing, I'm going to put that under my mat just for a bit of weight, and we'll go on with doing our decoration while that's drying a little bit. So you can see here I have put a little bit of yellow and gold pen on this. So I'm just going to colour in my light bulb a little bit, not overthinking it, and a little bit of gold pen, because gold's always best, isn't it? And I'm just doing scratchy lines. I'm not really thinking too much. Okay, so now we have our paperclip ready. I'm going to do a little bit of gesso on it. So let's get the stencil that I want to use. I've got a Tim Holtz stencil that is eye chart, and I'm just going to run some numbers. Actually, I might just roughly cut this irregularly. That will do. So we can put this on. All right, some gesso. I'm going to run a little bit of gesso down here. Some numbers. And I'll dry that off. With my heat tool. So the video will pause for the moment. Okay, so I've dried that side. Now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. I'll clean that up and dry that off. Okay, I've got that dry, so let's glue this little man on now. I'm going to put a little piece of washi on for him to sit on. So let's just line him up and work out where he falls, so we can put some washi down. Just about there. Actually, I might put a little bit of glue on that. snip that off. And I've got some washi for the other side as well, so let's do that. Run a piece of washi down there. These are 2 washies that I got recently from Crafty by Toni. Just tidy that up. So we'll stick our man on. Have him sitting on the washi tape so he's grounded. I don't mind his foot hanging down because it's going to be in a book. It's going to sit in a journal. And on the other side we've got our light, which I ended up covering up that P, but that's okay. Just a little bit of ink around that light bulb. We'll stick that on. And I stamped this out of Tim Holtz's The Inspector and the little service. Okay, we'll let that sit and we'll do all of the tassels together at the end. So I've got a little bit of twine there to do him. So let's move on to the other ones. So we'll go on with the next one. You can see here that I have done a bird and I have stamped just the same as I did before on a piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to wrap the tea bag around, but this one I've punched a hole in and I've just got some things to decorate. So let's do this one. As you can see, I've already stamped it to try and get a little bit ahead because this was once again fairly ambitious. I'll fold in that tea bag. And just glue down that edge. I want the edge to be nice and flat. And this one I'm going to, instead of cutting it, I'm going to tear the bottom of it. So I'm just going to hold the end of that tea bag very hard with the ruler and tear it off so it gives a nice rough edge. And the same on the other side. Now I have my piece of scrapbook paper and my paper clip again. I'm going to put that over it, but this time I'm not going to cut a hole. I'm just going to punch it. So let's put some glue all around, and I'm just going to glue both sides of that because I don't need to worry about trying to push the paper clip up through the hole. So I'm just going to put some decent amount of glue on that and position it in there so it's hidden and close it over. Oh, I forgot. Before we do that, let's just glue down those, snip those corners and glue those in. Just so that we have our shape of our tea bag. That was me trying to rush. The clock is ticking. Not sure that I'm going to get it done today. Now I need to stamp on that and put some washi on. So we have 2 birds. I have some sort of bird and I have a cockerel. So let's put the cockerel on this side, and we'll put a little bit of washi that he's standing on. You can see on this one I've got a B on one side and a number on the other. We might put a C on there for chicken, mightn't we? Let's do that. A letter C for chicken, or cockerel. Now, where do we want that? I think up the top there. Yes, that's good. And we'll stick him on. Oh yeah, he's pretty cute, isn't he? And then the other side, I have a number 5. We'll run a piece of washi. We might use this one again. And I'll run a piece of washi down here, I think. Let's run it down this side. Let that glue stick on our 5. I'm not sure why I picked 5. I think it was just a case of it being easy to fussy cut out. Put our bird on. And just trim it down. And I'm going to punch a hole in this one. Okay, I'm just going to go punch a hole so that I can tie something on it. Okay, let's leave my crocodile there. And we'll let him dry. Now, our next one. What's our time? Oh, I have 5 minutes. You think I can do it in 5 minutes? Actually, I think I have 4.5 minutes. Okay, now this one, I just wanted to show that you could do different things. So I've just pulled out some cardstock. That's all. Now I've got one that's cut bigger than the other because obviously one's got to go inside, one's got to go outside. So let's glue down one and I'll show you what we're making. This one I've just used ephemera out of a Graphic 45 collection. I think it's like Life's a Bowl of Cherries or something like that. So let's glue down our tea bag. So starting is just the same, but instead of using stamped cardstock, I'm using scrapbook paper. Glued that in. I'm going to tear those down again. I like those rough edges, so tear off the bottoms. I'm leaving a little bit hanging down. And we'll remember this time to snip here and fold in. Tell you what, it's a bit nerve-wracking working to the clock, isn't it? Okay, you can see that I've folded those in. Need to remember to put our paper clip in, so I'm going to slide the paper clip over, put glue on both sides. This one I'm hiding the paper clip completely. Put it inside, center it, close it shut. Now, if you wanted to slide something up into there on the outside, I think I mentioned that earlier, you could do that. So, you could slide something up and have it underneath. And you see how it still shows because we haven't sealed that off. As soon as you glue something on there, it sticks the tea bag to the surface. Okay, now I have some cherry things. So let's glue these down. I've got cherry soda. We might punch a hole in that first. Now all I'm doing is I'm making sure I miss the top of the paper clip, going through the center of it. Let's glue our cherry soda on. So it just goes to show you could use absolutely anything. All those little scraps that you have left over from doing other projects. You think, what am I going to do with that now? You could use to make a few little tea bag hidden paper clips. Yeah, that's pretty cute. Then on the other side, I have a little cluster that I'm going to glue on. Okay, now we have a piece of twine. Let's pop that in. We need to put them on, all of them. What have I got? Oh, I'm down to 2 minutes left. I think I'm going to just miss it. Got some little cherry punch outs. All I did was just punch out a few little pictures of cherries, and I've put a little bit of glossy accents onto it. Okay, that one's got its hanger on. Let's see. Oh, we're down to 1 minute. We'll glue on this one. Airmail. I liked the American airmail one with the birds. That was pretty good. A little stamp that says United States Airmail. All right, I've just clicked over 30 minutes and I haven't got the hanger on my man, but I think that I'm happy with how I went. I'm pretty happy that I managed to get those done to where I got them to. So this one I'm just pushing the twine through the top of the paper clip that's hanging out. So as you can see, you can either have your paper clip sticking out the top, or you can, but you need to cut a little slit in the cardstock for that. If you forget to do it, it's not the end of the world, because you can just punch a hole with your hole punch through the top of the paper clip, making sure to miss it. That one's got registered mail on that one. Okay, I'm at 30, just about 32, almost 32 minutes. So we just missed out, but let me clear the decks and I'll show you the ones that I've made with you, and then I'll show you the ones that I did before I came on camera. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, here's our ones that we've just made. I haven't put any white splatters on them because, as you know, I ran out of time, but I'm happy with how they turned out. You'll notice on some of the others that I've put a little bit more stamping on them and some white splatters. But here's our gentleman, and I think he's a light bulb salesman, and he is selling light bulbs and sending them to people through registered mail. So let's open up my journal. So we have our man here. He goes onto the page like that, and he looks pretty good on there, doesn't he? Now, if you don't want the tassel, you can get rid of it. You can just have it cut off and do it however you want, but I want it to still look like a tea bag. And then on the back, you can see that it looks completely different, and it doesn't matter that his foot hangs down. You see his foot hangs down here, but when it's on the page, you can't tell that. So there's our man. Let's look at our cherries. So here's our cherries, and you can see it's got a few little bits of glossy accents on it, and 25 cents. I've put that on a bit crooked in my haste, haven't I? Never mind. And you can see that you do see the inside a little bit if you open up the paper clip. So pick some paper that you like, and here's our cherry hanging off the top. I'd like that just dangling, I think, but that looks cute on the page, doesn't it? And then you turn it over. We've got pick fresh cherries. So that's that one. And then we have our cockerel here, our chicken, and a bird who's number 5. I'm not sure why, but he's cute. He might actually end up living in this one because this one's got lots of birds in here. There we go. He's very cute. And then I'll show you the ones that I had made. So here was my, similar to my man here. Here's another one. Now this one here, some of them I did sideways because these ones, most of what I've done are all, sitting on the top. But these ones here I did on the side. So I'll show you. Slide it on. And they look nice on the side because you could use them as a bit of a tab. See how that one works as a tab? You turn it over and it looks pretty cute with our dangling cherries, but they're perfect for a tab on a page. So there's our cherry one, and I've got a bird one here. I'll just show you the top and bottom of that one. So there's one side of it with a B for bird. And you can see that this one I've put some white splatters on it and another little stamp up in the corner and a number down here. I didn't get time for that. Now this one here was a little bit interesting. I didn't stamp onto the tea bag page paper, but on this one, when I was making them, I did. So I basically laid this flat and stamped it with a pattern. You can see that it's got a crosshatch kind of pattern on it in red. And I stamped it all as background and then let it dry and then used it. And so it's got a bingo card on one side, and they won on number 27. And they were able to then pay their accommodation. This looks like it might be Blackpool. I'm not sure. I've not been to Blackpool, but it might be Blackpool. But they've on travelling. Looks like 3 boys and their dad. They might have went to Blackpool and they didn't know how they were going to pay for their accommodation. They went to the bingo and they won on number 27. Oh, that sounds great. All right. Then we have, this one is a circus one, and it says prizes and attractions. And you can see that I have put some white splatters on it and some other stamping and some numbers and an excursion. So once again, this one opens and goes sideways. So doing some that are sideways is pretty cool. So there's that one. This one here is hair tonic, and it's got some cheesecloth in the background. I stamped first on some cardstock like we did today for our salesman, and then I just cut out a label out of some scrapbook paper, put on a brad with a little banner and a price ticket. And this one's the same, hair lotion. This one's got a little bit of thread wrapped around and some splatters. So there we go. So there's our 10 tea bag hidden paper clips. I hope you enjoyed that today. I'm so sorry that I didn't make it, but I came close again. I'm being a little bit ambitious, I think. I'm fine with coming close. I'm not fine with completely not making it anywhere near it, but a few minutes I'm okay with. I will probably go through and put a few splatters and the odd stamp on the 3 that I've just made just to finish them off. But I hope you really enjoyed the video today. I hope you got some inspiration to do something with all of those tea bags that you throw out. I've got to admit, I actually really loved doing this. I had so much fun creating these tiny little stories because I love telling stories while I'm making things. So each one's a tiny little story. I loved it. So hopefully you enjoyed doing some as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel. And I will hopefully see you again in a few days' time with another junk journal 3 under 30. Let's see if I can actually get under time next time. All right, have a great week creating, everybody, and I'll see you with another project. Bye for now.